Hello, welcome back to WCATChats. I'm Nathan Raju. Alongside me here is Alex Carr, and this is episode 53, and we're here joined by two varsity baseball players, Calvin McBurney and Carter Barth. Can you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hey, I'm Carter Barth. I'm a senior pitcher on the baseball team.
I'm Calvin. I'm a junior, also a pitcher. It's great to be here.
So Calvin and Carter, both game 1 and 2 starters. Very strong seasons. How do you guys feel so far going into region play? How do you guys feel about the season?
I think, so far in region play, we've actually yet to give up a run. It's something that's never been done in the history of Westminster. It'd be a pretty miraculous feat if we were able to pull it off. But, this week and next week are obviously our hardest region games. This week with Druid Hills, and then next week with the big one, Holy Innocents, on Wednesday and Thursday. But it's definitely been a great season, and it's not just us, of course. There's other pitchers too, including Alex and Lawton and Gibby. They've all been great.
Yeah, I think one thing that's been going really well for us right now is that we've gotten a lot of energy in the past few games, because it's really important to just come out with energy every game, and we'll need to keep that going into next week versus Holy Innocents, because that'll be a huge series.
Speaking about energy, what's your favorite chant you hear when you're on the mound?
While I'm on the mound, I feel like I'm usually kind of just focused on the game, not really hearing the chants, to be honest, while I'm pitching at least.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I'm pitching, it's kind of just very locked in. I don't really hear either of the dugouts very much, but it is good. Like sometimes after I throw a pitch, I'll hear a lot of noise from the dugout, and I think I like that sometimes.
And when you're on the mound, what are you thinking blocking out the noise? Is there a specific cue you think when you throw, or is it just consistency?
For me, I'm just thinking just look at the catcher's glove and then just tunnel vision on the catcher's glove, and that just works for me usually.
For me, I don't know if there's a specific cue or anything like looking at the catcher's glove, but I'll just say before the game, preparation and getting mentally locked in is pretty important for me, and then by the time the game comes, I'm just pretty focused on the job.
Speaking about getting locked in, do you have any superstitions you have to do? Put the left sock on before the right? Anything in particular?
I always do my stretches in the exact same order, and if I change that up, then I get kind of annoyed at myself. But other than that, no, not really.
I've worn the exact same undershirt for every single varsity start, or every time I've pitched on varsity. So I guess that's kind of a superstition.
And that's including last year, right?
Yes. I do wash it, though. It's not still dirty.
No, he keeps the residue in it, so he keeps up the success. Well, also, just looking at the runs for, runs against on the year, 162 to 35, an impressive little difference. What do you guys think about the offense in relation to the pitching, and then also the defense behind you?
Well, I think the offense, we've had some very explosive games, and we've also had some games where we've really struggled. But I think our best games are the ones where we go into it expecting a challenge. Like against Druid Hills a couple days ago, Coach Laney had gotten us fired up. We knew it was a very important game, and it was definitely one of our better hitting games in the entire year. Our 8 and 9 hitters both had 3 hits, including 2 doubles, Houston and Jack. So that was great. But at the beginning of the year, I was a little nervous for the hitting. We had our scrimmage at Riverwood, as we always do, and we recorded 1 hit, and it was in the 7th inning. Almost getting no hit is a bit of it's not great for the confidence. But when we came out in the following game, I believe who did we play second game?
It was
Cedartown.
It was
Heard
Heard County, then
Yeah.
Cedartown.
When we played Heard County, the offense really came alive, and when we're hot, we're hot.
Yeah, totally agree with everything. Also, I was worried after Riverwood, but we've had some games where the offense has really shown up. It was also great when we got some of the basketball guys back later in the season. Like now we have Kyle batting leadoff. He's been hitting really well. Defense behind us, I'd say with the exception of a few games, it's been pretty solid. We have a lot of guys who are going to be really consistent. So that's always great as a pitcher.
And Carter, looking back a ways, you had one of the best starts I've ever seen against Woodward. What was that start like, going a complete game against a very strong opponent?
Yeah, it was just such a fun day. It was pretty surreal. I was just, taking it one inning at a time, and each inning kept putting up zeros. And so, yeah, it was really special. We also had, God, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, it's all good. I'm going to ask you what your favorite part is, but I'll share mine. It was definitely at the end of the game where we had a team huddle, and Coach Laney got right in your face and was just hyping up the crowd. That was exhilarating.
Yeah.
Coach Laney revealed the Woodward coach actually went up to him after the game and asked who we had gotten a scouting report from, because Carter was just so dominant and he was locating every single pitch. He just assumed that we already knew all their weaknesses.
Yeah, he actually assumed that we talked to a previous team, and he said that, oh, we're not going to schedule the team that leaked it to you, but turns out Carter's just that good. And
I came into the game knowing a lot of those guys, so knew how to attack them, and the game plan worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and Carter, looking back, you're a senior now, 4 years of Westminster baseball. If you had to pick out a memory that just really kind of culminizes everything you've been as a Wildcat, tell us about it.
I'd probably have to go back to last year, probably our first playoff series for Stockbridge, just because it was like my first time playing in the playoffs. That was really special. And then the first game we played really well. We actually won by a ton. But then the second game, it was a closer game. And I was pitching at the end and had to get the save. And so that was a really fun series win. First experience in playoff baseball was pretty fun.
And then Calvin, a couple weeks ago, you got to face one of the best teams you can face, North Cobb Christian. What was that like, facing such a strong lineup and then also succeeding?
Playing against a school like that, it's just it's night and day different than most of your outings, because in probably 95% of high school teams, once you get through the first 5 or 6 batters, the rest of the guys are almost just there to fill spots. But for North Cobb's team, the 7, 8, 9 hitters, they were home run threats. They weren't just they'll dink it through the infield. Their entire team, it felt like, could hit the ball way over the fence. And I gave up 2 home runs, which isn't ideal, but when you're facing a lineup that just has that much power, it's like you're facing the Atlanta Braves almost. Any pitch you throw in the wrong spot, it has a chance to go over the wall. And their top 2 hitters, both committed to Georgia, very talented. The 2-hole hitter, he was throwing 93 miles an hour and he hit a 400-foot home run. It's really fun though to pitch against a team like that. I think I was throwing harder that game than I have the rest of the season. And I think it was just because I was so fired up to play against a team like that.
And for the viewers who don't know, Calvin throws 99% harder than everyone. So he probably pop a 91 this year, right? In this season?
Probably. But, that kid was sitting 92, 93, and it was with ease.
Yeah, that was one of the best teams you can face. That gets us ready for the playoffs and the rest of region play. And talking about playoffs, what are you guys seeing for the team? What are you guys expecting to see?
I'm really excited for the playoffs. I think we have another chance like last season to have a really great run. If we can, these past few games, like I said, we've had great energy. If we can get the energy going early on in the playoffs, score a run early, and then pitching just will hold for the rest of the game, hopefully. So I think if we can do that, come out, score early, then we'll have a really great chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, baseball is such a mental game. So if we can, kind of get in the other team's head, or at least get the mental edge over another team, even if they might have more talent than us, we could still squeak out wins just by grinding.
Yeah, now looking ahead to next week, 2 big games against Holy Innocents, and we need the fans there to get the energy up. If you guys could talk to the fans here, what would you say to them to get them to come to the game?
It's gonna be electric. Last year, we went to Holy Innocents, and I can tell you, at Holy Innocents, it was really loud, and then at home, it wasn't as loud. And so we want to match that same atmosphere that we had at Holy Innocents. It makes it really tough to play if you're the away team. So come out to the game. It'll be a really, really great game. We're really even teams. So it should be awesome.
Also, for some more motivation to come to the game, next Thursday, Mr. Ross will be on the grill, which is always great for the fans. You know, he's a grill master.
Yeah, you do not want to miss an opportunity to eat what he serves. It is incredible. It also smells good, too. We typically can't eat it, but we can smell it in the dugout, and it's incredible. Talking about the dugout, last game, the past couple of games, the dugouts had a lot of energy. What's your guys' favorite chant that you've heard? Because there's been a lot.
You know, I really like the drums. You know, going back to me and Alex, and I guess Nitin wasn't on the team, but in our 8th grade season, we would do the drums in the dugout, and we had a historic run in the playoffs. You know, we went into the playoffs as a pretty average 500 team. We made it all the way to the championships, just relying on those drums. And then when we get to the championships, we find out the drums are banned, and then we lose the championship game. But I think it kind of, especially with the juniors, it invigorated, you know, that memory. And it's also getting some of the guys on the bench more involved. You know, sometimes when it's a long season and you're not playing, you know, it's kind of sort of gets monotonous. But then now everyone's cheering, like everyone's on their feet. And I think that's really good for the team.
Yeah, I also am a really big fan of the drums. Those have been really great to get us in the game recently. I also really like the "Yeah, here we go" as the pitcher's coming set. That's always a fun one. Try and get in the pitcher's head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Dak Prescott cadence call for football, we've kind of switched its use over to baseball, and whenever the pitcher gets set, we have Stan or me or Briggs yell, "Yeah, here we go," right when he's throwing it. It gets a little distracting. I would say for me, my favorite is when we all go silent, and then Locke goes, "Oh, God!" and then the pitcher throws ball 4. It makes me giggle.
Yeah, I mean, that one, you know, it's getting to the point where it's almost personal. You know? there is a line, and I think that one is very close to the line of too far.
And I feel like that's the definition of Locke Patton, though. I mean, being able to jump over the line, just kind of testing the boundaries there. And now, kind of looking back, this is for Carter senior year baseball, Cal junior year, looking to play at the next level as well. But before you do that, looking back, kind of how did you get into baseball? What was your baseball story?
For me, it was just playing at Buckhead baseball. I mean, started that back in T-ball when I was 3 or 4, and then played ever since. I'd say I got into it a lot more during like summer ball from Buckhead baseball, just because that's always fun. You get really close with a team over the summer playing at tournaments that are further away and stuff. So that was probably when I was like 10 or so is when I started playing over the summer as well. So yeah, started at a really young age, and then just interest kept building over time, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a very similar story to Carter. I started at Buckhead, T-ball 4, but I mean, I think the thing that like really ignited the spark was once you get to 7U, you have summer all-stars, and that 7U all-star season was one of the most fun summers of my life. And then I think the thing that really like ignited the, you know, like searching for college and like took me to the next level for baseball, I switched programs over to pro stock. And, you know, I think just finding the right coach for you that can like sort of find the full potential in you can elevate your game so much. Even if he doesn't actually make you better, he can make you a more confident player. And if you don't believe you're going to play in college, you're not going to play in college, you know?
And Carter, I got to go back. What's made you such a dominant pitcher from 9th grade as a freshman to now? A big change in just how you pitch, and then also just you as yourself. How did you make that change from a second baseman to the PO that you are, hitting bombs?
I mean, I always felt I was a really underrated pitcher back in the day, like back in 9th grade, because I would always come in, throw strikes, hit my spots. But I've also made like significant velo increases, pitching velocity, and that obviously makes a big difference because it's a lot harder to hit. So that's just throwing a lot, working hard, helps improve velo a lot, and then also I'd say my changeup has become my best pitch, and that was probably in between 10th and 11th grade when it became a really dominant pitch for me, and so that's helped me be really successful.
I mean, for you also, when you switched over to 6-4-3, do you think that also helped like elevate your game a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I switched there for my 17U season, so it's like fall of 11th grade is when I started there, and the coaches there are just really great, so they've definitely helped me a lot. Yeah, there's just a lot of special coaches there, a lot of different opinions you can get on your pitching, so that's been great for me as well.
And now, senior year, Carter, kind of stepping away from the baseball field. This is your last year here at Westminster. If you had to kind of go back and try to find a memory or something that you're looking forward to this senior year.
I mean, there's so many memories. Just going back to like the first day of school, that feels like it was just yesterday where we're all at the front gate. But that was a pretty special memory for me. But there's been a lot of them. Now just excited for the end, the senior mudslide. Yeah, it's been a really great year.
Yeah. I had a question. Let me remember what it was.
When Alex is remembering, can you guys talk to us about the MLB? Give us your favorite teams. How are the seasons going for your teams?
Well, unlike a lot of people in Atlanta, I'm a Giants fan. My dad is from the Bay Area. My grandparents are big Giants fans. Our season, we're not off to a great start, but I feel confident we can turn it around. We've got a lot of talent that we picked up from the free agent market. Jorge Soler, Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, three very, very talented players. We're 3 or 4 games below 500 right now, but I'm confident in our pitching staff with the top 2 Cy Young finishers from last year that we can, finish, at least make the playoffs. Probably not going to win the division with the Dodgers there, but sneak in as a wild card team and make a run kind of like we did 3 times back in the earlier 2000s.
Yeah, for me, like maybe a lot of you, I'm a Braves fan. So yeah, I feel great about this season. The only thing that's a negative right now is Spencer Strider's injury. That's a huge, huge blow, losing a pitcher of his caliber. But other than that, I feel great about the season for us.
And then going back to high school baseball, is there a coach that's made an impact on you at Westminster? Either Coach Boomer sticks with us for majority of our time here as a pitching coach, or Coach Yurkevich, Coach Poland, or Coach Lanny?
I'll go with Coach Poland, I'd say, even though he's not the pitching coach like Coach Boomer. Coach Boomer's the one working with us most of the time. But to go with someone else, I'll go with Coach Poland. He's just such a great guy, a really special coach. I also he normally hits in and out to warm us up before the games. And if I'm not pitching, I'll usually work with him in that, flipping him balls and stuff. And he's just such a great guy to talk to. So, yeah.
I mean, since Carter didn't go with Coach Boomer, I'll go with Coach Boomer. He brings so much wisdom to pitching. He's been around pitching for I don't even know how long. But, I've also I actually interviewed him for an English project last year, and I had him as my Jan term teacher. So I've gotten to know him really, really well over the last couple of years. And like Carter said, we spend pretty much every day with him. And, his style of coaching, he's very direct, which I like. He doesn't say, you were okay, it was good. He tells you what you did wrong, which I kind of like, as opposed to some coaches who will sort of just try and baby you. And I think he's had a very positive influence. And last year, especially as a sophomore, I was kind of nervous to come onto varsity. But, he told me, I know you can pitch, and he was confident in me, and his confidence in me helped me build confidence in myself.
And so speaking of the wisdom, we'll end the interview on the same question we ask everyone. If you had to give a piece of advice to a younger you, what would that be?
I'd say just follow whatever you're passionate about. No matter what it is, have the confidence to pursue it, and just put all the effort into it as you can. And then I think if you do that, you'll look back and be proud of yourself that you pursued something with such tenacity.
Yeah, I kind of was going to say this similar thing, I don't want to say you can do anything you put your mind to, because that's not true, but you can do a whole lot more than you think you can do if you believe you can do it.
All right. Well, thank you, Cal and Carter. Hope you guys end the season strong, and so do the Cats, who are sitting at 13-4, looking to make a strong playoff push. So thanks, guys, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
All right. Well, thank you, Calvin and Carter, for joining us. Always fun to be able to get into the minds of two very, very good players of their respective sports. But now going to other Westminster sports, we've got senior night for girls lacrosse. Some highlights on the WCAT Twitter page. You can go check them out. But congrats to the girls and boys. With a very strong class, and always fun to be with them.
Yeah, and then the boys' soccer team actually went up to the Smoky Mountain Cup in Gatlinburg, and they actually came down as champions. So congratulations to the boys' soccer team. They're doing really well this year, and hopefully make a strong playoff push. And then last week, the Westminster lacrosse team won 10-1. The guys beat Lovett, so the Battle of Buckhead, Westminster's dominance over Lovett is staying strong here. Baseball, we have a game today. Druid Hills away, and then important games on Friday against Hateville Charter, and then a couple games against Holy Innocents next week, which are very important.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We also have senior night this Friday. Make sure to come out and support. As always, it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of energy. Mr. Ross probably on the grill, so you got to come out for that. And then also, talking about baseball, but at the top level, Westminster's in WCAT zone, Wiley Ballard really starting to make a name for himself on the Bally Sports programming. He's one of the reporters that comes on the side, and he's very entertaining to watch and really making a name for himself.
Yeah, I know Westminster has been name dropped actually a couple times on the air by the play-by-play Brandon Godden, so I mean, maybe we'll have Wiley and Brandon hop on the podcast here for a little bit in the future. So hopefully that comes to fruition.
And then you already talked about the Battle of Buckhead.
Yeah. Boys lacrosse won 10-1. I mean, they're just dominating.
And then also congrats to Coach Hicksonball for being named the AJC Atlanta Coach of the Year for basketball after leading the basketball team last year to where they weren't as dominant as they could have been. And then him coming along and Westminster basketball really turning it up. Very exciting to watch him turn this team around and make it so exhilarating.
Yeah, spring sports kind of winding here towards the end and making strong playoff pushes for all the teams, including tennis, who have always been dominant. They look forward to make a push both in girls and boys. And so, yeah, it's all for Westminster sports. I know all the spring sports are coming to an end, but we're also gearing up for playoffs.
Yeah, and then also talking about the Atlanta Braves, Spencer Strider going down with a UCL injury, not something you want to hear. Expected to be able to come back in September, but
yeah, Braves starting off pretty solid.
The bats are looking alive, except Ronald Acuna Jr. scuffling a little bit at the plate.
If you call stuff scuffling a 6'2", 70 average, something around there.
Acuna,
250, 260. He's not. I wouldn't say
he has a sub 700 OPS.
Scuffling for his standards.
No, he's a below league average hitter as of right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, he had a solid game last night.
So yeah, 691 OPS.
Okay. All right, well, Acuna when he gets hot, he'll get hot.
Oh yeah, I'm not scared of him. He also has got 3 hitters in a row in the lineup that have over 1,000 OPS of Matt Olson, Marcelo Zuna, Michael Harris, and then down in the order, Jared Kelnick out of the blue hitting 460. Last year really struggling, and coming from the Marlins over to the Braves made a switch.
Yeah, from the Mariners over to the Braves. He's been making a really good name for himself here in Atlanta, Marlins.
Oh, yeah, Mariners.
And his defense, too, a big upgrade in left field. So Braves are looking good. And then over to basketball, the Hawks actually clinched a play-in spot in the play-in tournament. So if they get hot, they have a chance to make a run. And we'll see how that goes as the basketball season comes to an end.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, go Cats.
Go Cats.